Imagine waking up one day and feeling completely at peace with yourself. No unnecessary worries, no self-doubt, no toxic influences draining your energy. Just clarity, purpose, and an unshakable inner strength. This is not an impossible dream. It's the foundation of Stoicism, a philosophy practiced by great minds like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. But achieving this level of freedom requires one crucial step: eliminating everything that weighs you down. Most people believe that adding more to their lives will bring happiness, more success, more money, more validation. But what if the secret to a powerful and resilient mind isn't about gaining more, but about quietly letting go of what no longer serves you? This is the essence of Stoicism. Instead of chasing after things, it teaches you to strip away the unnecessary, leaving behind only what truly matters. And when you do this, something incredible happens. You become lighter, more focused, and most importantly, in control of your own life. The first thing to eliminate is the need for external validation. Ask yourself, how much of what you do is driven by the opinions of others? Social media, family expectations, peer pressure. These forces shape so many of our decisions. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the approval of others is fleeting. He wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." The truth is, no matter how hard you try, you will never please everyone. And the more you seek validation, the more you become a prisoner of other people's expectations. Think about it. How often have you hesitated to speak your mind because you feared judgment? How many opportunities have you let slip away because you worried about what others might think? The irony is that most people are too absorbed in their own struggles to truly care about what you do. The only opinion that truly matters is your own. When you release the need for approval, you gain something far more valuable: freedom. The freedom to live authentically, to follow your own path without fear. So let go of the desire to be liked. Instead, focus on being true to yourself. Another thing to quietly remove is the illusion of control. Most people live under the false belief that they can control everything: their future, other people's actions, the outcomes of their efforts. But the Stoics understood that this is a dangerous trap. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you cling to the illusion of control, you set yourself up for frustration, anxiety, and disappointment. Because no matter how much you plan, life will always be unpredictable. A better approach is to focus only on what is within your control: your thoughts, your actions, your attitude. Everything else, let it go. Imagine you're caught in a storm. You can't stop the wind from blowing or the rain from falling. But you can choose how you respond. You can panic and fight against the storm, or you can adapt, find shelter, and wait for it to pass. Life works the same way. The more you release your grip on what you cannot change, the more peace you will find. The next thing to remove is the habit of complaining. It's easy to blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck for your problems. But complaining does nothing to solve them. In fact, it makes things worse. Every time you complain, you reinforce a mindset of powerlessness. You convince yourself that you are a victim, that life is unfair, that you have no control. But the Stoics teach us that we always have control, if not over the situation, then over how we respond to it. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The most resilient people in history were those who refused to waste time complaining. They faced their problems head-on, adapted, and found solutions. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, ask yourself, what can I do about this? And if the answer is nothing, then let it go. Complaining only drains your energy and keeps you stuck. Instead, channel that energy into action, into something productive. Another thing to eliminate is toxic relationships. You become like the people you surround yourself with. Their energy, beliefs, and attitudes influence you more than you realize. If you spend time with negative, envious, or manipulative people, their mindset will start to affect yours. Seneca warned about this when he said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." The wrong people will pull you down, distract you from your goals, and fill your mind with doubt. The right people will challenge you, inspire you, and push you to become better. So take a hard look at your relationships. Who lifts you up? Who drains you? Who supports your growth and who tries to hold you back? This doesn't mean you should hate or resent anyone. Simply distance yourself from those who do not align with your values. And if you cannot remove them completely, at least limit their influence over you. You owe it to yourself to protect your mind and energy. Now let's talk about perfectionism. Many people believe that perfectionism is a good thing. They think it means having high standards and pushing for excellence. But perfectionism is actually a trap. It creates fear. Fear of failure, fear of making mistakes, fear of not being good enough. And this fear leads to procrastination and self-doubt. The Stoics knew that perfection is an illusion. Marcus Aurelius never wrote about being perfect. Instead, he focused on progress. He wrote, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. It is time to realize that you have within you something stronger and more miraculous than what draws you to external things." The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to improve, to grow a little every day. When you free yourself from the burden of perfectionism, you open the door to real achievement. You start taking action instead of waiting for the perfect moment, which never comes. Another thing to eliminate is the fear of discomfort. We live in a world that avoids pain at all costs. Instant gratification is everywhere. Easy entertainment, fast food, constant distractions. But true strength comes from embracing discomfort, not running from it. Seneca practiced voluntary hardship to train his mind. He would sleep on the floor, eat simple food, and expose himself to challenges so that when real difficulties came, he was ready. He understood that comfort makes us weak, while struggle makes us strong. Think about the greatest achievements in history. They were not made by people who avoided discomfort. They were made by those who embraced it. Athletes train through pain. Artists push through creative blocks. Entrepreneurs risk failure. Every great success story is built on resilience. So instead of fearing discomfort, seek it out. Challenge yourself daily. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because every time you do, you grow stronger. Another thing to quietly remove is attachment to material things. There's nothing wrong with wealth or success, but when your happiness depends on them, you become their slave. The Stoics taught that true wealth is not found in possessions, but in freedom. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Think about it. How much time and energy is wasted chasing things that bring only temporary satisfaction, a new car, a bigger house, the latest gadget. But once you get them, the excitement fades, and you crave the next thing. It's a cycle that never ends. Meanwhile, inner peace comes from appreciating what you already have, from realizing that you need far less than you think. When you release your attachment to material things, you begin to experience a deeper sense of freedom. Imagine living in a way where your happiness isn't tied to external possessions. You become less anxious about losing what you own and more focused on what truly matters: your relationships, your purpose, and your inner peace. This does not mean rejecting all pleasures or living a life of deprivation. It simply means understanding that your worth is not defined by what you have. The most valuable things in life, wisdom, integrity, love, cannot be bought. Another thing to eliminate is the constant need to be right. Many people waste precious energy trying to win every argument, prove others wrong, and assert their opinions at all costs. But the Stoics teach us that being right is less important than being at peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If anyone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake in any thought or action, I will gladly change. I seek the truth, which never harmed anyone." This mindset is liberating. It means that your ego does not control you. You are not trapped by pride or the fear of being wrong. When you let go of the need to be right, you become open to new ideas. You listen more, you learn more, and you grow. Instead of arguing endlessly, you prioritize understanding. This does not mean remaining silent when you have something important to say. It means choosing your battles wisely and recognizing that most disagreements are not worth your energy. Ask yourself, do I want to be right, or do I want to be free? Most of the time, the smarter choice is to let go, move on, and protect your peace. Another thing to quietly remove from your life is the habit of procrastination. We often tell ourselves that we will start tomorrow. Tomorrow we will chase our dreams. Tomorrow we will take care of our health. Tomorrow we will have that important conversation. But tomorrow is not promised. The Stoics believed that time is our most precious resource, and once it's gone, we can never get it back. Seneca warned us, while we wait for life, life passes. Procrastination is not just a delay in action. It is a thief of opportunity. Every moment you waste is a moment you can never recover. If there is something important you know you need to do, start now. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be easy. It just has to begin. Take small steps if you must, but keep moving forward. Because the cost of waiting is too high, and life does not wait for anyone. Another thing to release is the fear of failure. So many people never pursue their goals because they are terrified of failing. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the journey toward it. Every mistake you make teaches you something valuable. Every setback strengthens your character. The only real failure is refusing to try. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. When you are afraid to fail, you remain stuck. You never take risks, never stretch beyond your comfort zone, and never discover your true potential. But when you embrace failure as a teacher, you become unstoppable. You realize that no failure can define you unless you let it. Every time you fall, you get back up, stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the road ahead. Failure is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of your growth. Another thing to remove is resentment. Holding on to anger or grudges is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It consumes your energy, clouds your mind, and prevents you from moving forward. Marcus Aurelius advised, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injustice." In other words, do not let the actions of others turn you into someone you are not. Forgiving does not mean excusing bad behavior or allowing people to hurt you again. It means choosing to release the burden of resentment for your own peace. When you forgive, you take back your power. You free yourself from the chains of bitterness and make room for growth. It's not always easy, but the alternative is staying trapped in a cycle of pain. So choose freedom. Choose peace. Let go and move forward with an open heart. Another thing to eliminate is the obsession with the past. Everyone has regrets. Everyone has moments they wish they could change, but no amount of overthinking will rewrite history. The Stoics believed that the present moment is all we truly have. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not let the future trouble you. You will meet it with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present." When you live in the past, you miss out on the beauty of now. You allow old wounds to steal your present joy. But when you let go of what cannot be changed, you reclaim your power. You realize that each day is a new opportunity, a blank canvas waiting for you to create something meaningful. Stop carrying the weight of yesterday. Focus on today. This is where your life is happening, and this is where your power lies. Another thing to quietly release is the fear of being alone. Many people stay in unhealthy relationships or surround themselves with the wrong crowd because they are afraid of solitude. But the Stoics valued solitude as a path to wisdom and self-discovery. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." Being alone is not the same as being lonely. In solitude, you have the freedom to reflect, to grow, and to connect with your true self. You learn to enjoy your own company and to find strength within. The world is noisy, people will come and go, but the relationship you have with yourself is the one constant. So embrace solitude as a gift. Use it to build the life you want, one that is not dependent on anyone else for fulfillment. Another thing to release is the belief that happiness is somewhere in the future. Many people live in a constant state of, "I will be happy when I get the promotion, when I find the right partner, when I have more money." But the Stoics understood that happiness is found in the present, not in some distant future. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." The truth is, if you are not happy now, you will not be happy later. External circumstances can only provide temporary pleasure. True contentment comes from within. It comes from living with integrity, practicing gratitude, and focusing on what is within your control. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to be happy. That moment is now. Appreciate what you have, cherish who you are, and recognize that the present is a gift. Another thing to eliminate is the belief that life should always be fair. Life is unpredictable. It does not follow our expectations or play by our rules. The Stoics taught that while we cannot control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." When you expect life to be fair, you set yourself up for disappointment. Challenges will come. People will let you down. But you are not powerless. You have the ability to choose your attitude and actions. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can I learn?" Every difficulty is an opportunity to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Life may not be fair, but you always have the power to rise above it. The final thing to quietly remove from your life is the illusion of control. Many people spend their days trying to control everything, their circumstances, the opinions of others, the future. But this is an exhausting and impossible task. The Stoics understood that true peace comes from recognizing what is within your control and letting go of what is not. Epictetus taught, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within your control, and some things are not. When you resist this truth, you create unnecessary suffering. You worry about things that may never happen. You become frustrated when people don't act the way you want. You exhaust yourself trying to bend reality to your will. But when you accept that life is unpredictable, you free yourself from this burden. Think about how much energy is wasted on things outside of your control: the weather, traffic, the economy, other people's thoughts and actions. Instead of focusing on these, shift your attention to what you can control: your responses, your mindset, your choices. When you let go of the illusion of control, you gain something much more valuable: inner peace. You no longer feel the need to micromanage every detail of your life. You stop trying to force outcomes. You learn to adapt, to trust, and to respond with wisdom rather than resistance. And this shift changes everything. You become more patient, less reactive, and more at ease with the natural flow of life. The Stoics believed that life is like sailing. You cannot control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. The wise person does not waste time complaining about the direction of the wind. They simply adjust, adapt, and keep moving forward. This is the key to resilience. Letting go of control does not mean being passive. It means focusing on what truly matters. It means investing your energy where it can make a difference: your actions, your mindset, your character. This is how you build a life of strength, wisdom, and inner peace. And as you begin to remove these things from your life, the need for validation, the attachment to material things, the fear of failure, the habit of procrastination, the weight of resentment, you start to feel lighter. You realize that many of the struggles you once carried were unnecessary. You see life with greater clarity. This is not about living a perfect life. It is about living a more intentional one, a life where you are no longer trapped by fear, regret, or the expectations of others, a life where you are free to focus on what truly matters. So take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is weighing me down? What am I holding on to that no longer serves me? What can I release to create more space for growth, wisdom, and peace? Because the truth is, you have the power to shape your life, not by controlling everything around you, but by mastering yourself, by choosing what you allow into your mind, your heart, and your daily actions. And this is the essence of Stoicism: not seeking control over life, but seeking mastery over oneself. Not resisting what is, but learning to move with it. Not being ruled by fear, but embracing life with courage and wisdom. The journey toward a better life is not about adding more. It is about letting go, removing what no longer serves you, creating space for what truly matters. And as you do this, you begin to experience something rare and powerful: true freedom. Freedom is not found in external circumstances, but in the way you choose to live. Most people spend their lives reacting, chasing after what they think will make them happy, avoiding what they fear, seeking approval, clinging to comfort. But true freedom is the ability to stand firm in the face of all this, to decide for yourself how you will live, and to let go of everything that does not serve your highest self. Imagine waking up each day without being controlled by fear, resentment, or the endless pursuit of things that do not bring real fulfillment. Imagine being able to face challenges with calm and certainty, to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. This is not an unattainable ideal. It is the natural result of removing what weakens you and focusing on what strengthens you. Most people never take the time to question what they have accepted as normal. They live on autopilot, following the same routines, responding to the same frustrations, and carrying the same burdens year after year. But what if you stopped for a moment and truly examined your life? What if you looked at your daily habits, your thoughts, your priorities, and asked, is this helping me become the person I want to be? Because the truth is, much of what holds people back is not external, it is internal. It is the beliefs they have adopted, the emotions they have not processed, the habits they have built without realizing their cost. And the more you become aware of these things, the more you can begin to let go. Let go of the need to always be right. It is better to understand than to win arguments. It is better to learn than to prove a point. Let go of the habit of distraction, constantly seeking entertainment, filling every empty moment with noise, avoiding stillness because it forces you to face your thoughts. Let go of the idea that happiness is somewhere in the future, that you will feel at peace once you achieve a certain goal, acquire a certain status, or gain a certain level of success. Happiness is not something you chase. It is something you cultivate moment by moment in the way you live. And when you free yourself from the illusions that keep you stuck, you begin to see life differently. You stop waiting for some future event to bring you fulfillment and start creating it in the present. The Stoics understood that the mind is the source of both suffering and liberation. A person who has not trained their mind is at the mercy of their emotions, their impulses, and the influence of others. But a person who has disciplined their mind is unshakable. They remain calm in difficulty, steady in uncertainty, and clear in their purpose. This is the difference between merely existing and truly living. Existing is going through the motions, reacting to circumstances, allowing the world to dictate your state of mind. Living is choosing your response, directing your focus, and deciding each day who you will become. And the way to get there is simple, though not always easy. It is through daily effort, small decisions that compound over time, the choice to let go of resentment instead of holding on to it, the choice to focus on what you can control instead of worrying about what you cannot, the choice to act with integrity even when no one is watching. These choices shape your character. They determine whether you live with peace or with stress, with clarity or with confusion, with strength or with regret. And each day, you have the opportunity to choose, to step away from the distractions, the unnecessary worries, the mental clutter, and to step toward a life of purpose, wisdom, and true freedom. And as you begin to make these choices, something remarkable happens. You start to feel lighter, not because life becomes easier, but because you are no longer carrying unnecessary burdens. The weight of anxiety, frustration, and regret begins to lift because you are no longer feeding it. You are no longer giving your energy to things that drain you. Most people never experience this level of freedom because they have spent so long attaching themselves to things that do not serve them. Old grudges, unhealthy comparisons, constant distractions. They don't realize that they are the ones holding on. They don't see that they have the power to let go at any moment. Letting go does not mean giving up. It does not mean becoming passive or indifferent. It means freeing yourself from what does not add value to your life so that you can focus on what does. It means no longer allowing small frustrations to control your emotions, no longer wasting your time on meaningless pursuits, no longer waiting for the perfect conditions to take action. Many people hold themselves back by believing they need more before they can start. More confidence, more knowledge, more resources. But what they fail to see is that action creates these things. You do not need to feel ready to begin. You need to begin in order to feel ready. Consider how much time is lost in hesitation, in second-guessing, in waiting for the right moment. Consider how often fear disguises itself as caution, how often self-doubt convinces people to delay what they know they must do. Every day spent waiting is a day that could have been spent growing. The Stoics understood this deeply. They lived by the principle that the present moment is all we truly have. The past is gone, the future is uncertain, but right now, in this moment, you have the power to act. You have the power to decide how you will respond to life, how you will use your time, how you will shape your character. This is why letting go of what weakens you is so essential, because every moment spent on things that do not serve you is a moment taken from what does. Every thought wasted on resentment is a thought that could have been used for understanding. Every hour lost to distractions is an hour that could have been spent on something meaningful. When you begin to see life this way, you stop allowing trivial things to consume you. You stop letting external events dictate your inner state. You develop the ability to move forward, to stay focused, to remain steady even in the midst of uncertainty. And in doing so, you separate yourself from the majority, because most people will never take control of their own minds. They will continue chasing approval, accumulating things, distracting themselves, reacting instead of choosing. They will continue allowing external circumstances to determine their level of peace. But you do not have to live this way. You can choose a different path. A path of clarity, purpose, and resilience. A path where you are no longer controlled by impulses or fears, where you are no longer a prisoner of your own mind. And when you walk this path, something shifts. You stop looking for happiness in the future because you begin to cultivate it in the present. You stop waiting for circumstances to change because you realize that real change starts from within. You stop feeling at the mercy of life and start feeling in control of how you experience it. This is what it means to truly live, not to drift through life, reacting to whatever comes your way, but to take responsibility for your own mind, your own actions, your own path. And when you do, you will find a level of peace and strength that most people will never experience. This kind of peace is not something given to you by the world. It is not something you stumble upon by accident or something that depends on luck. It is something you create, something you cultivate through the choices you make every day. And one of the most powerful choices you can make is to let go of anything that weakens you, mentally, emotionally, and physically. This is where true strength begins, not in forcing your way through life, not in controlling every outcome, but in mastering yourself. When you let go of unnecessary distractions, self-doubt, and external validation, you begin to see the world more clearly. You begin to act with purpose rather than being pulled in every direction by emotions or circumstances. Think about the last time you felt frustrated, overwhelmed, or stuck. Chances are it wasn't because of something that happened, but because of the way you responded to it. Most of our suffering comes not from the events themselves, but from the meaning we attach to them. The Stoics understood this well. They knew that it is not external events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. This means that by changing the way you think, you change the way you experience life. You can choose to see challenges as opportunities. You can choose to see setbacks as lessons. You can choose to focus on what you can control and let go of what you cannot. and this choice is always available to you. In every situation, you have the power to decide how you will respond. You can either react impulsively, allowing emotions to take over, or you can pause, reflect, and act with wisdom. Imagine how different your life would be if you no longer allowed small annoyances to ruin your day, if you no longer carried past regrets with you, if you no longer worried about things outside of your control. Imagine how much lighter, clearer, and more focused you would feel. This is not just about feeling better. It's about becoming more effective, more disciplined, more resilient. When you are no longer weighed down by unnecessary concerns, you have more energy to put into the things that truly matter. You have more clarity to make better decisions. You have more strength to move forward with confidence. Most people will never experience this kind of freedom because they are too attached to their own limitations. They hold on to their fears, their excuses, their negative habits. They tell themselves that change is too difficult, that they are not ready, that they need more time. But the truth is, the only thing standing between you and the life you want is your willingness to let go of what holds you back. Letting go is not easy. It requires self-awareness, discipline, and the courage to step into the unknown. But once you begin, you realize that the things you once clung to were never as important as you thought. You realize that much of what you feared was an illusion. You realize that real strength comes not from holding on, but from knowing when to release what no longer serves you. And as you do, you start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You start to feel lighter, stronger, and more in control. You begin to move through life with a sense of calm, knowing that no matter what happens, you have the power to choose your response. This is what separates those who merely exist from those who truly live. This is what gives you control over your own life. Not external circumstances, not the opinions of others, but your ability to shape your thoughts, your actions, and your mindset. Most people spend their lives reacting. They wake up and immediately check their phones, letting notifications and news dictate their mood. They rush through their day, feeling overwhelmed by responsibilities, consumed by stress, and distracted by endless noise. But the person who has mastered themselves does not live this way. They are intentional. They decide what deserves their attention and energy. They create their day instead of letting the day create them. Imagine waking up and feeling a deep sense of clarity, knowing exactly what matters and what does not. Imagine moving through your day with a steady mind, unaffected by small frustrations, completely focused on what truly matters. This is not a fantasy, it is a choice to eliminate what weakens you and build what strengthens you. It starts by letting go of distractions, constant entertainment, social media, mindless scrolling, and the need for constant stimulation. These things drain your focus and steal your time, leaving you exhausted without anything meaningful to show for it. Instead of reacting to every notification, every message, every new trend, imagine using that time to build yourself, to learn, to grow, to create something of value. It also means letting go of toxic comparisons. Too many people measure their worth by looking at others, what they have, what they achieve, how they live. But this is a trap. The only person you should compare yourself to is the person you were yesterday. If you are improving, even in small ways, you are winning. True confidence does not come from being better than others. It comes from knowing you are becoming the best version of yourself. Letting go also means freeing yourself from unnecessary worry. Most of the things you stress about will never happen, and even if they do, worrying will not change the outcome. Instead of filling your mind with anxious thoughts, focus on what you can control: your actions, your mindset, your discipline. Train yourself to respond to uncertainty with calm and preparation rather than fear and doubt. And then, there are the opinions of others. How much of your life has been shaped by the fear of what people might think? How many opportunities have you avoided because you were afraid of being judged? The truth is, most people are too busy with their own problems to think about you as much as you believe. And even if they do, their opinions do not determine your worth. Do what aligns with your values, pursue what fulfills you, and let go of the need for validation. But perhaps the most powerful thing to let go of is the past. Regret is a heavy burden, but carrying it does nothing to change what has already happened. The Stoics understood that the past is gone. It cannot be changed, only learned from. Instead of wishing you had done things differently, focus on what you can do now. Use past mistakes as lessons, not as chains that hold you back. The moment you start applying this, you begin to feel lighter. Your mind becomes clearer. You start to live with a sense of purpose instead of being weighed down by things that do not matter. And this is when real change happens. This is when you stop merely existing and start truly living. Because when you let go of the things that drain you, you create space for the things that build you. You begin to notice opportunities that were always there but previously hidden by distraction. You develop a sharper mind, one that is no longer clouded by worry, comparison, or the need for constant approval. You start living intentionally, making choices based on what truly matters, rather than what feels urgent or expected. This is where true power lies, not in controlling the world around you, but in controlling yourself. Because once you do that, you stop being a prisoner of circumstances and become the architect of your own life. Imagine for a moment how different your days would feel if you were not constantly pulled in different directions by things that do not serve you. If your time was spent only on what truly moves you forward. If your energy was not wasted on negativity, but invested in growth. That kind of life is not only possible, it is a choice. One that begins with eliminating what holds you back. And that includes eliminating excuses. Excuses are the chains that keep people stuck in the same place for years. They are the stories we tell ourselves about why we cannot do something, why it is not the right time, why we are not ready yet. But here is the truth. There is never a perfect time. There is only now, and every excuse you make is time you will never get back. If you want something, start. If you want to change, commit. If you want to become better, take action. Waiting for the perfect moment is the fastest way to let life pass you by. Another thing to eliminate is the habit of blaming others. Life is not always fair. Circumstances are not always ideal. But blaming others, whether it is your past, your parents, your boss, or society, does not change anything. It only keeps you stuck. When you take full responsibility for where you are, you also gain the power to change where you are going. No one is coming to save you. No one will do the work for you. And that is a good thing, because it means that everything you want is within your control. Then, there is procrastination, the silent killer of potential. How many dreams have died because someone kept saying, "I will do it tomorrow." The problem is, tomorrow turns into next week, next month, next year. And before you know it, you are looking back, realizing that you never even started. The best time to act is now. Not when you feel ready, not when it is convenient, but now. Even small steps forward are better than standing still. And here is something most people do not think about. Eliminate the need to be comfortable all the time. Comfort is not always your friend. It feels good in the moment, but too much of it leads to stagnation. Growth happens in discomfort, in challenges, in pushing beyond what feels easy. The greatest people in history were not the ones who stayed where it was safe. They were the ones who stepped into uncertainty, who faced struggles, who embraced difficulty, because they knew that was the path to greatness. Most people avoid discomfort, and because of that, they stay the same. They never push themselves, never test their limits, never see what they are truly capable of. But those who willingly step into discomfort, who train their minds and bodies to handle challenges, become stronger, more disciplined, and more unstoppable than they ever imagined. They do not let obstacles break them. They use them as stepping stones. Think about how different your life could be if you eliminated these limitations. If you stopped making excuses, if you stopped blaming, if you stopped waiting, if you stopped avoiding discomfort. How much further would you be? How much stronger would you feel? How much more would you accomplish? The only thing standing between you and that life is the decision to start removing what holds you back. And once you start removing those limitations, you begin to realize something powerful. Most of the obstacles in your life were never external. They were internal. They were the doubts, the fears, the hesitation, the habits that kept you in the same cycle. When you strip those away, you see with clarity. You feel lighter, more in control, more capable. You stop waiting for life to change and start changing your life. But here's something many people overlook: the importance of eliminating the wrong influences. Who you surround yourself with matters more than you think. If you are constantly around people who complain, who doubt, who settle for less, that mindset will rub off on you. If the conversations you engage in are filled with negativity, gossip, or small-minded thinking, that will shape the way you see the world. You might not even notice it happening, but over time, it will affect your thoughts, your decisions, your beliefs about what's possible. On the other hand, if you surround yourself with people who are driven, who challenge themselves, who hold themselves to a higher standard, you will naturally start doing the same. You will start expecting more from yourself. You will be pushed to grow, to improve, to rise to the occasion. That's why it is so critical to be intentional about the energy you allow into your life. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Not every voice should have influence over your mind. Protect your mental space the same way you would protect your home. And that brings us to another thing you must quietly eliminate: the need to explain yourself to everyone. Many people waste years of their lives trying to justify their decisions, trying to make everyone understand their journey. But the truth is, not everyone will understand. Not everyone needs to. Some people will question you simply because your growth reminds them of their own stagnation. Some will doubt you because they could never see themselves doing what you are doing. If you live for their approval, you will never live for yourself. The greatest freedom comes from letting go of the need to be understood by everyone. When you stop explaining and start executing, you get results. And results speak louder than words. Let your progress be your explanation. Let your growth be the only proof you need. Those who are meant to understand will see it, and those who never will. They were never meant to be part of your path in the first place. There is also a silent enemy that many people don't recognize until it's too late: the illusion of endless time, Too many people live as if they will always have another chance, another opportunity, another day to get things right. But time is the one thing you can never get back. Every day you let pass without making progress is a day you will never see again. Every moment wasted is a moment gone forever. That's why urgency matters. Not in a way that makes you anxious, but in a way that makes you intentional. If you knew you had only a limited number of days left, how would you live differently? What would you stop tolerating? What would you start doing? The reality is, you do have a limited number of days, and you don't know how many are left. That's why you must act now, not someday, not when you feel ready. Now, because waiting is the most expensive decision you will ever make, and the cost is a life that never reaches its full potential. Every single step you take toward eliminating what holds you back is a step toward becoming the person you were meant to be. The distractions, the doubts, the unnecessary burdens, when you let them go, you make room for clarity, for progress, for real transformation. Your time is now, not tomorrow, not next week, right now. The fact that you're here, listening, means you're already ahead of most people. You're searching for growth, and that alone sets you apart. But don't stop here. This is just the beginning. Keep challenging yourself. Keep pushing forward. And if you found even one insight in this video that spoke to you, imagine how much more you can gain by continuing this journey with us. Hit that subscribe button, because this isn't just about watching another video. It's about becoming the kind of person who takes action, who makes things happen. Every great transformation starts with a decision, and right now, you have a choice. You can let this moment pass, or you can use it as fuel to take your next step. If you're serious about building a stronger mindset, about unlocking your potential, then stay with us. Watch more, learn more, grow more. Because the best version of you is waiting. And every time you come back, you'll be one step closer to becoming that person. Subscribe now, and let's make it happen.